You're in danger. Act like I'm your dad. A stranger's voice in your ear, his arm moving toward your shoulder. 8 feet away, a hooded man watching your every move. You have 3 seconds to decide. Trust this voice or run from it. Rewind 8 minutes. A 19-year-old girl, a nearly empty convenience store, and a predator who'd been hunting for 18 months, leaving trauma and terror across 3 counties. What happened in that Dallas convenience store on an October evening became a viral reminder of something we forget. Sometimes the scariest moment of your life and your salvation arrive in the same breath. And sometimes the difference between them is nothing more than instinct, the gut feeling that tells you who to fear and who to trust. This is the story of Clara Wren, the construction worker who saw what no one else did, and the wanted criminal who almost added another victim to his list. If you've ever felt that fear of being watched, being followed, that primal sense that something is wrong, hit that like button, because this story might save your life. October 17th, Dallas outskirts, 9:47 p.m. Clara Wren was 19 and exhausted. The kind of exhausted that comes from closing shift at a retail job where customers treat you like furniture and your manager treats you like you're personally responsible for corporate profit margins. She had a statistics exam in 2 days that she hadn't studied for. Her car needed an oil change she couldn't afford. And she was hungry in that specific way where you're too tired to cook but too broke to order delivery. Hence, convenience store. The one on Route 12 that stayed open until midnight. She stopped there maybe twice a week, familiar enough to know which aisles had what, but not comfortable. Places like this never felt comfortable after dark, especially when the parking lot was mostly empty and the fluorescent lights turned everything harsh and exposed. Tonight felt different. She couldn't name why. Just a heaviness in the air, a tension in her shoulders that had nothing to do with her 8-hour shift. Her car was in the back corner of the lot. She regretted that now, had pulled in there because the closer spots were taken when she arrived. Now those cars were gone and hers sat isolated, a long walk from the entrance. Inside, the store was nearly empty. Cashier on his phone barely looked up when she entered. One other person browsing near the magazines. The usual hum of coolers and fluorescent lights. Normal. Everything normal. Clara grabbed a basket. Chips first, the good ones, the ones that cost more but tasted like actual food. Energy drink because she'd be studying late. Protein bar because she should probably eat something that wasn't pure sodium and chemicals. Quick trip. In and out. Home in 15 minutes. She'd always been cautious. Watched true crime documentaries. Knew the statistics about women her age. Kept her keys between her fingers when walking to her car. Checked the back seat before getting in. All the little calculations and precautions that women learn without anyone teaching them. Passed down like folklore. Because they have to be. But she was tired. And tired makes you sloppy. Makes you ignore the little voice that says something's wrong. The store had long aisles with blind corners. A security mirror in the back corner. One of those convex ones that shows a warped fisheye view of the whole store. Clara barely glanced at it. If she had, she might have seen him sooner. Comment if you've ever ignored that gut feeling that something was wrong. Because what happens next proves why you should always listen to that voice. Aisle 3. That's where she noticed him. Hooded figure, hands in pockets, face obscured by the hood and the angle of his head. Looking down, but not at any product. Just standing, just watching. Clara's heart did that thing. That little skip, that surge of adrenaline your body releases before your brain fully processes a threat. She told herself, he's shopping. He's looking at something. This is a public place. You're being paranoid. She moved aisle 5, grabbed the protein bars. Comparing prices, she wasn't actually reading. Footsteps behind her. Slow. Measured. The hooded man was there. Same aisle. Still not looking at products. Looking at her. Every hair on her arm stood up. She tested it. Walked to the drink cooler. Pretended to browse. Grabbed an energy drink. Took her time. He followed. Maintained distance, maybe 15 feet, but followed. Positioned himself near the refrigerated section, pretending to examine a bottle of tea he wasn't going to buy. This wasn't coincidence. This wasn't someone who happened to be shopping the same path through a small store. This was deliberate. Clara's breathing quickened. Her mind raced through options. Leave? Just abandon her basket and walk out? But he was between her and the door. Not blocking. He was too smart for that. But positioned. Confront him? Say what? Are you following me? And risk being wrong. Risk seeming crazy. Risk making a scene? That's the trap women fall into. The social pressure to be polite. To not cause problems. To question your own perception. Because what if you're wrong? What if you're overreacting? What if you embarrass yourself? But her body knew. Her pulse hammering. Her skin prickling. Her hands shaking slightly as she held a drink. This was danger. She headed toward the front counter. Safety in numbers, right? Even if the number was just one bored cashier. Except the cashier was arguing with someone on the phone. His voice tense, distracted, his back half turned to the store. Useless. The hooded man moved with her, positioned himself between her and the exit. Not obviously, not threatening, but there, close enough that if she tried to leave, he'd be in her path. Clara's options narrowed. The parking lot was dark. Her car was far. No one else was around. And now she had to calculate. Run past him to the door and risk him following her to the isolated parking lot? Stay inside and hope he leaves first? Call 911 and say what? A man is standing near me? Her phone was in her back pocket. Emergency contacts ready. But what if she was wrong? What if this was just anxiety, just paranoia, just her true crime-addled brain seeing threats that didn't exist? Women make these calculations 100 times a day. The risk of seeming paranoid versus the risk of being right. The cost of being wrong in either direction. Clara chose to stay near the counter, near the cashier, near the security camera that might or might not be recording. The hooded man stayed too, watching, waiting. The store felt smaller, the air thicker. Time moved strangely, seconds stretching while her thoughts raced. Then, heavy footsteps, work boots on tile. A man approached the counter, mid-40s, maybe, construction clothes dusty and worn, tired face, hard-worn hands. He carried a single bottle of water and a bag of beef jerky. He glanced at Clara, just a normal glance, polite acknowledgement. Then his gaze shifted past her. To the hooded man, his expression changed. Something clicked behind his eyes. Not alarm exactly. Recognition. The kind of awareness that comes from pattern matching, from seeing something your brain identifies as wrong before you can articulate why. He looked back at Clara, at her white-knuckle grip on the basket, at her posture, tense, defensive, at her eyes, wide, scared, scanning. His jaw set. If your heart is racing right now, hit that subscribe button, because what this stranger does next is why this story went viral and why you need to hear it. The construction worker stepped beside Clara at the counter. Close, deliberate, positioning himself between her and the hooded man without making it obvious. He leaned in, his voice barely above a whisper, calm and steady. You're in danger. Act like I'm your dad. Clara's world crystallized into that single moment. Every warning she'd ever received about strange men, every horror story about trusting the wrong person, every instinct screaming about vulnerability. But something in his eyes, something in the way he'd positioned himself, protective, not predatory. Something in his voice, urgent but not aggressive. She had 3 seconds to decide. She nodded, barely, just enough. The man's arm came around her shoulder, gentle, careful, clearly performative. His demeanor shifted into something casual, paternal. Hey, kiddo, he said, louder now, his voice carrying that easy tone of a parent who's done this 1,000 times. Your mom's waiting in the car. Let's get you out there before she starts texting. Clara's brain caught up. She played along. Oh, thanks, Dad. I just grabbed some snacks for studying. The hooded man was watching. She could feel his stare, could see him in her peripheral vision. He'd gone very still, calculating. His opportunity was closing, and he knew it. You ready to check out or you need anything else? The construction worker, her fake father, kept his voice normal, but his body was angled between Clara and the threat. Subtle, strategic. No, I'm good. Clara's voice almost steady. Almost. He guided her toward the counter. The cashier finally looked up, still distracted by his phone call. They paid quickly. The worker threw money on the counter for both their purchases, not waiting for change. At the door, Clara felt it, the hooded man shifting like he might follow. The construction worker paused. Looked back. Made direct eye contact with the stalker. No words. Just a look that said everything. I see you. I see what you're doing. I'm a witness. You're marked. Not tonight. The hooded man stayed where he was. Outside, the parking lot felt vast and exposed. Clara's legs were shaking. Where's your car? The man asked. Back corner. She pointed. Thank you. I don't know how to. Don't thank me yet. We're calling the police. He pulled out his phone. Stay here with me. You're safe. The 911 call was quick, professional. Convenience store on Route 12. Young woman being stalked inside. Suspect still present. Possible predator. Send units now. For minutes. That's how long they waited. The man, Rylan. She'd learn his name later. Maintained distance from her. Respectful. Understanding that she just had to trust one stranger to escape another, and that trust was fragile. He asked questions. Did he touch you? Say anything? How long was he following? His calm validated everything she'd felt. This matters. This is serious. You're not overreacting. Sirens. 2 patrol cars. Fast response. Officers moved quickly into the store. Through the glass doors, Clara saw it unfold. The hooded man tried to look casual, browsing suddenly. But when the officers approached, his body language changed. He ran back toward the storage area, like there might be another exit. There wasn't. They brought him out in handcuffs 3 minutes later. The senior officer came outside, face grim. Ma'am, do you know who this is? Clara shook her head. Robert Devlin, wanted in 3 counties. 6 attempted abductions in the last 18 months. 2 successful. He paused. The victim survived, but let's just say you're very lucky. The ground tilted beneath Clara's feet. She wasn't paranoid. She wasn't overreacting. She was targeted, hunted, and without. She looked at Rylan. You saved my life. He shook his head. Your instincts saved your life. You knew something was wrong. I just gave you an exit. Pause right now and comment. What would you have done in Clara's position? Would you have trusted Rylan's whisper? Because this decision, to trust or not trust, means everything. The police interview took 40 minutes. Clara shaking in the back of the patrol car, processing how close she'd come to becoming another statistic. If your father had intervened when he did. The officer started. He's not my father, Clara interrupted, voice hollow. He's a stranger who saw what no one else did. The officers explained Devlin's pattern. He targeted convenience stores and gas stations. Late hours. Young women alone. He'd watch, follow, establish patterns of behavior. Then he'd wait. Parking lots were his hunting ground. Isolated, poorly lit. Victims distracted by unlocking cars. If Clara had walked to her car alone, with him following, they didn't finish the sentence. The implication hung heavy enough. Rylan gave his statement with the same calm he'd shown in the store. The officers asked what made him notice. I have a daughter. She's 22. His voice was quiet. I've taught her the signals, the escape strategies, the awareness she needs. I know what predatory behavior looks like because I've had to explain it to her 100 times. Tonight, I saw those same patterns on someone else's daughter. The officer nodded. You likely saved her life, sir. Anyone would have done the same. But the officers exchanged looks. Both knew that wasn't true. Most people don't notice, don't get involved, don't want to risk being wrong or making it awkward. Clara tried to thank him. Her voice kept breaking. Rylan was patient. Listen to me. You knew something was wrong. You felt it. That knowing is your superpower. Don't ever let anyone make you second guess it. Paranoia isn't always paranoia. Sometimes it's pattern recognition. Trust it. She asked for his contact information, offering to repay him, to do something, anything. He wrote his number on a receipt. You don't owe me anything. But if you ever need to talk, if you're scared, if you need someone to believe you, call. Or call your dad. Call someone. Don't ever be alone with your fear. Then he left, back to his truck, back to his life. No fanfare. No expectation of recognition. The story surfaced anyway. Police report filed. Local news picked it up. Construction workers' quick thinking saved student from serial predator. It went national within 24 hours. The narrative was irresistible. Everyday hero, split-second courage, dangerous criminal caught. Comments flooded social media. Women sharing their own stories. This happened to me at a gas station. I was followed in a parking garage. Someone grabbed my arm in a grocery store. The sheer volume of similar experiences. The recognition that this wasn't rare. It was Tuesday. Praise for Rylan poured in. But also questions, angry ones. Why is male intervention necessary for women to be believed? Why do we need a dad to validate danger? Why can't women just say, I feel unsafe, and have that be enough? Valid questions. Uncomfortable questions. The kind that should make society rethink how it treats women's fear. Clara spent weeks processing the trauma. Nightmares about what could have happened. Hypervigilance in public spaces. The way her heart would race when someone stood too close in line. She started self-defense classes. Therapy. Advocacy work. 1 year later, she spoke at college safety seminars, showing Rylan's photo. This stranger believed me when I barely believed myself. She'd tell students. He saw danger I was trying to rationalize away. That's what saved me. Someone who took my fear seriously. Rylan declined every interview request, turned down reward offers, ignored social media praise. His daughter told reporters, that's just who he is. He sees people who need help and he helps. He doesn't need credit for basic decency. But it wasn't basic decency. Most people looked away that night. The cashier didn't notice. Other customers who'd come and gone didn't see. The system that was supposed to catch Devlin earlier had failed 6 times. Rylan was the exception. And exceptions shouldn't be. That's the whole point. Here's what this story teaches about survival awareness and the world women navigate every single day. Trust your instincts. Clara knew something was wrong before she could articulate why. Her body gave her data, accelerated heart rate, hypervigilance, that sick feeling in her stomach. That's not paranoia. That's your nervous system doing its job, identifying threats based on micro-patterns your conscious mind hasn't processed yet. When something feels wrong, it usually is. The cost of being wrong is embarrassment. The cost of ignoring your gut could be your life. The freeze response is real. Clara didn't immediately run, didn't scream, didn't cause a scene. Not because she was weak or stupid, but because her brain was overwhelmed by conflicting imperatives. Social conditioning to be polite versus survival instinct screaming danger. That's normal. That's how the human brain works under threat. Don't judge yourself for freezing. Plan for it instead. Have a strategy before you need it. No exits. Stay visible. Keep your phone accessible. Tell someone where you are. Have emergency contacts on speed dial. Think through scenarios. What if someone follows me? What if I feel unsafe? What if I need help? Mental rehearsal creates neural pathways that work faster than conscious thought when you're scared. The shame of seeming paranoid is not worth the risk of being right. Women are socialized to prioritize other people's comfort over their own safety, to not cause scenes, to not be dramatic or difficult. That conditioning kills. It literally kills. If you feel unsafe, act, leave, call someone, make a scene if necessary. Your survival matters more than a stranger's feelings or your own embarrassment. Document and communicate. If you feel followed, text someone, share your location, take photos, create evidence and witnesses, even digital ones. Predators want isolation and secrecy. Every communication you make reduces their advantage. The intervention lesson matters too. Rylan saw because he was looking. Most people move through the world in their own bubble, phones, thoughts, tunnel vision. He was aware of his surroundings. He noticed a hooded man's behavior. No shopping, just tracking. He saw Clara's body language, tension, fear, checking escape routes. And he acted. Men, be the person who notices, who intervenes safely, who believes women when they say they feel unsafe. You don't have to be a hero. You just have to be present and willing to disrupt the predator's opportunity. The dad strategy worked for a specific reason. Predators want easy targets, not complications. Adding a witness, a protector, a complication, it makes the risk too high. Devlin could have overpowered Ryland potentially, but doing so in public on camera with police minutes away? Too many variables. So he waited, and waiting gave police time to arrive. Why the story resonated. Every woman has a version of this story. Being followed, being cornered, being in a situation where fear and politeness fought for dominance, and you didn't know which to trust. The validation the story provides, that you're not crazy, not overreacting, not paranoid, is profound. But it also reveals something darker. Women have to make these calculations constantly. Where to park, what time to shop, who's walking behind them, whether to smile at a stranger or risk seeming rude, whether that guy at the bar is flirting or threatening. It's exhausting. It's a tax women pay just for existing in public spaces. Anyone would have done the same myth. No, Ryland. Most people wouldn't have. Bystander effect is real. Not wanting to get involved is real. Fear of being wrong is real. What you did was remarkable precisely because it should be common but isn't. Practical safety tips you need to know. Park under lights near entrances, invisible areas shop during busy hours. When possible, have your keys ready before reaching your car. Check your back seat before getting in. If someone makes you uncomfortable, trust it. Leave, move. Get help, tell someone where you're going and when to expect you back. The angel shot, or is Angela here? Code phrases at bars. Learn them, use them, have emergency contacts on your phone's lock screen, voice-activated calls. Hey Siri, call 911. Works even when you can't. Access your phone, make noise. Predators hate attention if grabbed. Go for eyes, throat, groin. Fight dirty because your life is worth it. The deeper, uncomfortable truth. This story shouldn't need to exist. Women shouldn't have to develop complex threat assessment systems just to buy chips. But until that world exists, we share these stories. We teach awareness. We demand intervention. We create networks of safety because the systems that are supposed to protect us consistently fail. Claire's reflection 1 year later. I think about that night constantly. Not just a terror, but the moment someone believed me without requiring proof. Ryland didn't need me to justify my fear. He saw it, trusted it, and acted. That's the world I want, where women's fear is taken seriously before something happens, not after. Where intervention is a default, not the exception. Where we believe women. Challenge to you, watching this, notice your surroundings. Who looks uncomfortable? Scared? Trapped? You don't have to be a hero. You just have to be willing to see and willing to act. Intervene safely. Offer help. Create witness presence. Call authorities. Be the person who disrupts the predator's opportunity. Believe people when they say they feel unsafe. Don't require proof. Don't demand justification. Just believe them and help them get to safety. Teach young men to recognize and refuse predatory behavior. Not all men are predators, but predators are overwhelmingly men. That means men have unique power to create cultural change, to call out friends, to intervene in situations, to model respect. Teach young women that their fear is valid data, not weakness. That intuition is pattern recognition. That survival is more important than politeness. That they deserve to take up space and defend their safety without apologizing. If this story made you think differently about awareness and intervention, hit that like button. Share this with every woman you know, and every man who needs to understand what women navigate daily. Subscribe to Living While Black and Beyond for stories that don't just entertain, but equip you with knowledge that could save a life. And comment. Have you ever experienced something like this? Or intervene when someone needed help. Your story matters. It might help someone else. Thank you for engaging with this story. I know it's not easy. It's not comfortable. These conversations about danger and predation and the calculations women make, they're necessary, but they're heavy. But knowledge is power. Awareness is protection. And sharing these stories creates a network of people who know what to look for, what to do, how to help. If you or someone you know has experienced stalking, harassment, or assault, resources exist. RAIN, Rape, Abuse, and Incest National Network operates a 24/7 hotline, 1-800-656-4673. Local law enforcement, campus security, workplace HR. Report what happened. You deserve support and justice. Living While Black and Beyond exists to tell stories that prepare us for reality while inspiring us towards something better. Stories that acknowledge danger without surrendering to fear. Stories that prove ordinary people can do extraordinary things when they choose courage over comfort. Next week, the grandmother who stopped an armed robbery with nothing but her words and a lifetime of wisdom. You'll want to be here for it. Until then, remember, your instincts are not paranoia. Your caution is not weakness. Your survival matters more than anyone's comfort. Trust yourself. And when you see someone who needs help, be the Rylan. Be the person who sees, who believes, who acts. Stay safe out there.